Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jamie McDonald here again with Mike Beaning for episode number 9 of Mirrorless Minutes. Last week was kind of glitchy for whatever reason. The whole thing was set up to where it was kind of like a private hangout, and the notice didn't go out publicly. And those that did get the notice, they were asked to get a request to join it, and didn't know it until the end of the show and started going back, and I noticed all these different notifications coming in from people saying, hey, I want to join the show. We'd have had like 60 viewers, which would have been good for us.
Hmm.
So hopefully tonight we'll see you guys on the show. I'm running in black and white mode because I've been shooting a lot of black and white lately. I shared that tip the other week about setting your camera to the custom setting in black and white, and apparently my brain is just locked into black and white, so I'm presenting to you tonight in black and white.
That's pretty good.
Tonight we're going to talk just a little bit about maybe some Christmas gift ideas for the last minute shoppers, or if somebody wants to buy me a gift, hey, I'm cool with that. Just don't get me anything I'm showing you tonight because I've already got it. And then I think we're going to touch a little bit on the Out of Chicago conference that's coming up next summer, an exciting event that I know Mike and I are both just totally over the moon with excitement about being able to be a part of. So I guess we'll just kind of get started tonight and talk to Mike and find out what he's been up to. I think he's been doing a little bit of traveling, and
Yeah,
he's
just a
probably
bit.
shot.
Yeah, I thought actually I might have to do the show from the hotel room because I lost a whole day. They canceled all the flights on Tuesday night. They put us up in a hotel in beautiful Manchester, New Hampshire, which is not beautiful.
Yeah.
you know, and ice rain and everything else. Yeah, I think last week the pre-Thanksgiving shoppers might have taken us down on the internet too.
Yeah.
It
Jeez.
was
Yep.
it was pretty. I think there was a lot of internet usage last week too. It was crazy.
You
But
know,
yeah, I've been out to Austin, and I've got one more trip for the year out to Vegas. I know that sounds tough, but it's, who
well,
knows?
I can tell you that the glitches are not happening tonight because we've got viewers now. So
Good, good.
yeah, everything's
All right.
working.
Thanks for coming.
Right.
Appreciate
Spread
it.
the word.
Right,
Um,
right.
so I was thinking, maybe we'll start off with the picture share. I'm excited to see what you were shooting
Sure.
because
Sure. Let's,
you're the traveler in the group, so it's always
all right.
exciting to see what you've
All
been up
right.
to.
Let's see what I can bring up, and it's just going to have a sort of a rock and roll thing because we've got. Let's see. Anything come up?
Yes.
It did. Okay, so I better get over there. Okay, so yeah, the day I was out in Austin, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Austin go hand in hand, and they've got this awesome statue on their across from their city line along the river, and it was just horrible. It would stop raining for about 2 hours, which was great because I was out there during that 2 hours. But the skies were horrible, so I said, you know what, composite. Let's go with the new On One software and Suite 9 and put together a composite of just some future thinking there for with him and some rough backdrops and all that, trying to get that together. That's all. This is shot with the EM1, and this is a 1240, the Pro lens there. But it was pretty easy. This is the same thing. This is just using that camera. I mean, this is the back of that. Obviously, that statue there of him, which is about 15 foot tall. Actually, I was standing on top of that wall when I took that, and you can see where the storm cleared up a bit. But art filters. This was perfect for a dramatic art filter. I mean, with him and the music he does on top of that, coming off of those trees, and it's almost like a fall there in Austin, where the trees have turned. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff there. This later on that night, went back, stopped rain. That's the actual city line done. That's a 28. That's with the 9-18 here, 28-second exposure, and if you look close along the shoreline across the shore, you'll see a blue streak. That was a boat, just a whole boat of. I'm probably going to say it wrong. A crew boat. That's what it was. A crew team. Actually, two crew teams with huge blue lights coming by, which was awesome. If I would have known they were coming, they didn't make much noise till I got there. I would have been a little bit more prepared to get the front one, but I think that was pretty cool. Beautiful night. Just like Michigan, 75 at night and stuff like that. And then the last one here is the Austin Ballet, just actually across the street. all decorated for Christmas. And I don't know if I've included a shot yet on 9 shows that hasn't included the 9mm body cam fisheye. I mean, it goes with me everywhere, so that's obvious. I think everybody can attest to that. But this thing just does a great job whenever you get something that's like this right up under it. And, clarity on this thing was, it was real good. It was about a 2.5-second exposure to get this, and maybe just a couple tweaks. I wanted to take some of the highlights out of those lights because I actually had the tripod mounted on this big cement thing that these lights were coming out of, and it was just a little bright there when we started. But yeah, that's about it. There's 4. So Austin's got obviously a lot cooler stuff than that too. But that's what it was when you got 2 hours with no rain and trying to take advantage of it,
Super
so
cool.
yeah. So what? How about you? What do you got going there?
Oh man, so I haven't had a whole lot of shooting time put in. Family events that were coming up. One of those was my son's birthday, so I've spent some time with him, and of course my kids seem to feature a lot in my photography. So I've just got a couple to share. This first one was shot my son's. Well, we did his birthday a little bit early because of the day that it fell on, and he had a friend stay the night, and we wanted to have a little bonfire out in the yard. So, of course, kids want to poke the fire and all that stuff, and you can notice in my son's right hand he's got a stick because he was prodding the fire. And I'm standing kind of in the background just observing, letting them do their thing. And I said, Mason, what are you doing? And he looks up at me with this look like, oh no. And that's, of course, when you take the photo, because that's when it's the most genuine. Shot with the Voigtlander. I've kind of been hooked on this lens a lot lately. I always recommend an Olympus product, it seems like, but this is one of those cases where I found something that's outside of what Olympus makes, but of course goes along with the Micro Four Thirds format. And this was shot with the 25mm f.95, and this was wide open at f.95. This is using that black and white setting that I talked about a couple of shows ago, straight out of the camera, crazy high ISO, and I think black and white works really well at high ISO. This was like ISO 10,000.
Wow.
It was the only way that I knew I could get him still enough to get a fast enough shutter speed to where he wouldn't have too much movement in him. Of course, the fire's kind of sending all those embers up pretty quickly, so I got a nice little bit of motion blur out of those. And again, ISO 10,000 on the EM1. To me, the way the grain works out at high ISO is so evenly distributed that I kind of like it, so I'm not afraid to shoot at really high ISO when I'm working in black and white. And
yeah, you gotta embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna run into something like that, it's one of those things that I tell people. If you're running into a situation like that, use it, work with it to your advantage. Make it be something that's gonna not detract from the picture, but kind of give it some character or some feel. And again, another shot of my son. I've been documenting his teeth because he's going through the braces process. Probably 4 weeks ago, he didn't have a space between his front teeth, so it's funny. I'm trying to get him to smile as much as I can so I can capture all this change in his face right now. This is the town Christmas tree where I live. I'm the parent that says, okay, you guys, throw on a jacket. I'm going to take pictures of you in front of the town tree. And this, again, same lens as wide open again. And this was actually pretty high ISO, and I'm kind of floored by how little grain is in it. I think this is at 6,400 or 8,000, and it came out like ridiculously clean in my opinion. Again, this is color. I didn't change it, to black and white to try to work with any grain. Just right out of the camera, it came out clean enough to where I felt like I didn't have to mess with it in black and white to try to, use the grain to an effect. And the last shot is with the 12mm f2. One of my favorite lenses of all time is the Imzuiko 12mm f2. It's kind of like my default landscape lens. The 9-18 is like crazy wide, but if I want really wide with not like overly dramatically wide, then the 12mm is the one that comes out of my bag the most. And my town just happened to have installed, of all things, a phone booth, and they're actually going to put a phone in it, that lets people make local calls, but it's it's such a unique thing to see. My kids didn't even know what the heck it was. They're like, what is telephone? What does that mean? I'm like, well, that's how it used to be when I was a kid.
Did they actually
So
install? They actually installed that?
yes, the city did, and they're working with AT&T, the local telco, to get a phone put in, and it'll be on the city's, the city's
Yeah.
dime, or my taxes, what have you. We'll pay for
That's fun.
the ability to make local calls. But I saw this, and the town, you can see the holiday lights in the background and all that, and just something about it made me stop and have to shoot it. And after I shot it and I got home and I looked at this photo, I started thinking to myself, I think this is going to be a subject. I think I'm going to do something with this over maybe the course of like the next 8 or 9 months, and kind of make it a regular thing that I shoot. It's kind of, I went through this phase with the barn that I always seem to show a lot of pictures of. I kind of find these things that I gravitate towards and just start working with them. So been bouncing a few concept ideas around in my head that I'm going to start working with using that.
You do a tour of phone booths in America.
All one of them. I mean,
yeah. Now you just gotta find them.
I know. It'd be a long tour, a long, lonely, boring tour, but.
Yeah.
So,
whoever sees them, send a note to Jamie. Right?
Yeah, and an airline ticket.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. I just spend a lot of time with my family the past 2 weeks, so kind of been shooting a lot of that, documenting home pretty much, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. So you wanna get in the Christmas spirit and talk about these lists?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's a blast.
Yeah, I think we both put together some lists. I think I had 10 on mine. I don't know if you had. Did you have 10 on yours? I know you had.
I think I did 10 on mine that I did on my website.
Yeah. So we both got some lists out there, I think, and they're not, like you said, everything that necessarily we want. There are a few things that I don't have on it.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are circled that I gave to my wife. But
yeah.
But I try to go over. You can find mine on Mirrorless Minutes and Jamie on his website right there. Find his there. But I'll pull out 3, and they're not the least inexpensive ones. I can tell you. They've got some. But I said I gotta do these 3. So especially after this last week.
We don't have a hobby that often lends itself to cheap.
Right. No.
Sadly.
It's not a cheap hobby. But pulling out the me photo, the day trip tripod, and I know people look at this and go, hey, you're crazy. Everything I've shot traveling this year, every single thing I've shot traveling has been with this small tripod. It doesn't extend extremely high, but what you got to do, just like in Austin, you find a nice brick wall, or a good garbage can that gets you up on the height to take some good long exposures, and it's actually extremely solid. The legs and that. I changed the head on it, and on my list I threw that head on there, this Joby head. It's a little bit tougher, and it's got a great pan. So if you do want to do some stuff with panning, it works well. But the legs are so tough, and this has been sitting in water and everything. So as long as
What does that run roughly? You figure?
It's 119 for the tripod, and the head will work fine. The one that they give you with it. I'd go with that actually, and if you felt you wanted something a little bit better, because what I like to do is I'll even take the EM1 with the battery grip, so that makes it a pretty good sized camera, and with that extra head, it just feels very strong. So I could do whatever real long time lapses or whatever composites, that type of thing, the live composite. Let's see, I'll go up to, I got my new studio here. So
nice.
We're trying to pick up our games here and doing some different things. But let's see if I can get this in front of the camera here. My the 17 millimeter. I tell you what, I waited and I waited for that lens, and I said, I got the 25. I got all these other ones. I'll be good. That street shooting with the 17 is the absolute best. I mean, I actually have some heads now where I might have cut them off in the past, or full bodies, and it looks so much nicer. Sharp lens, it's like the 12. It really is. It's like the 12 millimeter lens. It's so sharp, and I could pull that out with the 12 to 40 and set the camera at 17. But it's so easy to get around and inconspicuous. Obviously, what you need for street shooting. So. That's about $499. You can get it in silver, so if you're got that silver OMD. That looks really sharp too. And the last one I couldn't go without saying it. I'm sure everyone's going to think it is the this Oreo cookie um, of a lens, the 9mm body cap. It's hard to. I probably need to hold up something in perspective. A
Yeah.
pen, a pen. It's like the Apple commercial. There you can hide it. But the 9mm body cap, $99. I tell you what, this has made some amazing photos for me this year, and they're just so much fun too. Because you look at it and you go, I'm never going to get a good picture from this. And then you get back and you say, holy cow. Yeah.
Yep.
And you got to know your settings, though. You're not going to shoot that in a super low light situation.
So when you travel in lieu of a body cap, that's
Yep.
what you use, right? I'm assuming. You use it just like that.
I throw that on. I
Yeah.
start with that. Yeah, that goes on the camera, so I don't have to have anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I'll carry usually the 12 to 40 and the 17.
It's like a free lens in the bag whenever you travel to have that with you, I think,
And really for walking, when you're out walking, there's a lot of times I won't even carry a bag because if I keep the 17 on and I want something just extra special, I'll throw that in my pocket. I'll throw a lens cloth and a battery in my pocket, and I don't even need a bag for street shooting.
Cool.
Unless I guess, carrying a water or whatever. But yeah, those are my three that I'm most stoked about that I love on that list.
Cool. Well, I know my list, like you said, you can find my list over on my website, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes, as well as a link to Mike's list over on Mirrorless Minutes. I kind of tried to do this. It's such a hard thing to suggest items to people because, again, our hobby it's crazy expensive. So, ideas for people that, almost anybody can get into can be tough. So the one thing that I can't leave home without, there's one in every single one of my bags, and I think my retrospective 30 from Think Tank has like 2 of them in it, are these lens pens. This is the Amazon actually has their own brand, Amazon Basics, and they make quite a few different things, and I found that lens pens are one of those items. So for those who don't know, a lens pen on one end, it looks just like a little pen, and on one end there is this really soft, bristly brush. You can kind of clean off your lens with it, get the dust off of it, and then on the other end there is this little round, it looks like a little felt tip, and there's actually a carbon material on it. And again, I'm not a chemist or anything like that, material scientist, but I can tell you that this carbon material that's on the tip here will not remove the coatings from your lenses. So if you dust off the lens and get all the dirt off of it first, and then you can just kind of use this to take water spots or any kind of smudges that might be on your lens from like your fingerprints and things like that. These are indispensable in my mind. I'm sloppy. I'm one of those people, I do not believe in putting crappy glass in front of your expensive glass, so I don't do the UV filter thing, and I know that's for some people like blasphemy, but I just don't. I just can't see spending $1,000 on a lens that has really advanced optics and coatings and then putting a $50 piece of flat glass in front of it. It just doesn't work for me. So for people like me, I need a way to clean off my elements every once in a while. So these are cheap. The Amazon Basic ones, I think I got like a 2-pack of them for $8 or $9.
Oh, that's good.
Can't beat it,
It does the same thing as Lens Pen. It's probably made by Lens Pen.
It probably isn't, just rebranded for Amazon,
Right.
And I think that on my, little Christmas list deal, I give a link to both the Lens Pen brand and then the Amazon Basic brand as well. So, $8 or $9. It's a good stocking stuffer. The next one is, I love saying the word taupe. It's my taupe baby. This is the new bag from Think Tank Photo. This is the Perception line. They kind of design these with small system cameras in mind, like us Micro Four Thirds users or some of the other mirrorless users out there. I like to think that it was designed specifically for Olympus users only. Small backpack. In the background back there somewhere, I've got a Shapeshifter backpack, which is huge, and it's designed for DSLRs. So I was totally excited when Think Tank announced that they had a line for mirrorless users. Small backpack, super well built. If you know anything about Think Tank Photo, you understand they're all about ergonomics. The pads, the shoulder pads, are designed to kind of wrap around your body, so really comfortable fit. Ventilation here in the middle so your back doesn't sweat. In this bag, and I'm not going to try and open it up and get all crazy with too much detail here, but camera in the top, lens over here, I think I've got 9 to 18 right there. And then in the bottom, I've got a little divider that I stuck in the bottom of this one. So I can actually, in this bag, I can fit an EM1 with a grip with like the Rokinon fisheye or the Olympus fisheye body cap lens attached to it. In the compartment next to it, I can fit the 12 to 40. I can fit the 40 to 150 in the bottom, and I can fit like an entire kit in here. Plus, it's got room for my 13-inch MacBook Pro. Fits in here. Hell, that'll fit in there. Plus, you can fit an iPad in the little sleeve in front of it, and there's still storage in the front of this as well.
Yeah, those front storages are great. Because I've got that bigger one, and I did that review on it, but I packed everything. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I got all the front storage.
Yeah, you filled it up and thought, wow, I've got room to keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
It's heavier than I want.
Yeah.
And it'll even allow you to bring a tripod with you. Like in the top of it, I've got a little strap here to wrap around the top of your tripod, and this pouch down here at the bottom to hold the legs of your tripod. So it's going to Detroit urbexing this weekend with me. I'm gonna put it through its paces, so my taupe might get a little dirty. But and I think this bag is, I'm gonna really probably stick my foot in my mouth to trying to guess a price. It's around $160 somewhere right in that area, which isn't bad for Think Tank's bags. The quality of their product is, it's top notch. I don't use anything other than Think Tank photo bags. There's got like 6 or 7 of them in this room.
Right.
So the Perception, great backpack, great for traveling. And that's my middle of the road price gift. The most expensive gift I've got is this one, and it's dusty in the front because I don't do the UV filter thing. Yeah, this is the Voigtlander Nocton 25mm f.95, and I've got a lens hood on it right now. The supplied lens hood. It's an aluminum lens hood, but so what you can't see from this lens by looking at it this way is that it weighs a ton. It's all metal. It's heavy. It's probably the heaviest lens I own almost, other than the 40 to 150. Super bright at f.95. It's a little wonky at f.95, and yes, that's a technical term. It's soft on the edges, really soft, wide open. I mean, hell, it's f.95. It's going to be soft, but in the middle, it's actually still really sharp that wide. But even at f1, though, it sharpens up. At f1.2, forget about it. It's beautiful, but it's like $1,000 investment, and it's an all manual focus lens. There are no motors in this thing. It's all done by hand, which if you're using an Olympus camera, it doesn't matter because you've got focus peaking, and you've also got the ability, like the way I do it is I use magnify. I have one of my function buttons set to magnify. I crank it into 14x magnification, and I can lock focus every time doing it that way. So those are my gifts.
Does that come with a lens hood?
Yes, it comes with a lens hood,
okay.
And it comes with 2 lens caps. It comes with the cap that fits the hood because the hood is flared, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then the other lens cap, or the other lens cap is designed to just fit, you know, the actual lens itself. Great lens, you know. I want another one. I want the 42.5mm. There's something about manually focusing a lens, and I'm not a film guy, so I probably sound like an idiot talking like this, but there's something about manually focusing a lens that just, to me, it makes me feel like I'm more involved with what I'm shooting because I have to really pay attention to my subject to know that I'm getting in there, and it's just fun. And combining something with really exotic optics like this with the EM1, I'm like a freak about the vintage art filters on the EM1 in combination with these lenses like this, or the old like lenses from the 60s and 70s that you retrofit onto the camera. I don't know. It's my version of being a goofy, I'm shooting quasi-film kind of guy. I don't know. I'm probably pissing people off by saying stuff like that. But you know, but it's so fun, you know.
You slow down. You slow down. You know, that's what you're doing. You're slowing down. It's just the same in street shooting. Because I've tried to do with that clutch drive on that 17. I like to do manual focus and street shooting, and you really have to slow down. Yeah. You got to know, you know, what your aperture is, and you got to be ready.
And like I said, and for me too, the art filters is a big thing. I would have a couple of years ago, I would have never imagined getting on here on the internet and publicly yelling at people, play with the art filters. They're freaking cool. But they are. They're fun, you know, and it's kind of what these cameras are now. It's all about, is you just go have fun with them. So
I wonder if everybody knows about, because I caught this when I first started playing with them, is that not only can you go into the art filter, but then there's sub-art filters.
Yes.
Yeah, the sub-menus inside the art filters are another, I mean, some of them, I think the dramatic one goes into 2 more sub-menus.
Yes. For me, dramatic tone, I don't think I've shot it in color in almost a year. I put it into black and white, and I put it with a vignette on it. I mean, it's cool. Like you said, you can go into almost all the art filters, have a sub-menu that you can start adding other features to that art filter, like vignetting and like the little starburst thing you can get on lights, and like a faux tilt shift, so you can blur the top and bottom or the sides. Yeah, it's a blast. I wonder if people do know. Maybe we should do something about that.
Well, and that's exactly what I actually just wrote down. I said there's something going right there.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's great. That's great. What we wanted to talk about was the change for our show. The time.
That's a big one.
That is a big one. Hopefully we get out to enough people, and we'll put it out there again. But just for a short period of time. Because we're running into all these holidays, and we started looking at we'd be doing these things on Christmas Eve. I don't think everyone's going to be tuning in. I'm sure everybody would love to watch us on Christmas Eve. I'm positive my family would be losing their mind. So we're trying to make it around all the different holidays and then get into, so between now, let's see, when do we start? The 23rd.
23rd.
We're going to go to Tuesday nights at the same time until the end of February. And that's, I'll say it's helping me a lot because I get to see, my kid play basketball in college. It's their last year or so, and those are always Wednesday nights. But we'll be back on a Wednesday in February, but we're never going to miss anything because we'll be on every Tuesday.
Yep, exactly. So, it's not really going to be a big change except for those people that are live viewing right now. You would do it a day earlier. Right, day earlier, and you know what? If you can't get it, with our grand wizard there, Terry McKay, has got him going out now on podcasts, and we've applied to Apple. We're waiting for the approval to get into the podcast with everyone else's podcast, and then you're going to hear us asking to go out and rate the podcast to move us up the list. So be prepared when that thing hits. Yeah. So mark your calendars. 23rd is the next one, and I'm positive that we'll have something because I've got we're going to cover all the bases now because I just got the tablet, the Perception tablet, the small one in. Just got that today, so we'll put that through its paces and see. We'll probably talk about it on the next time, and then we're going to hit the trip this weekend too. See what I can do with that. Cool. So I think I'll throw a little announcement out there. I've got a giveaway that we'll be doing on the show coming up. I'm not going to give any more information out other than that. So talk about like a big teaser. I like to give stuff away. Mm-hmm. And I haven't done that on this show yet. I think I did it on the other podcast that I was involved with for a while. So I think we're due. So and it's gonna take a little while to get there. So I'm thinking probably we'll do like a milestone show, and it's not gonna be show number 10, sorry, but maybe like 15. Mm-hmm. How about that? How about on 15? I'll announce a really cool giveaway, and we'll hook somebody up with a really cool prize. So tell everybody. Jamie's going to give away a prize. Mike's going to give away a prize. It'll be fun. So yeah, this is it's secret because I don't know. You don't know. So, yeah, this is Apple's secret. All right. Yeah. So before we go, do you want to spend a minute just talking about what we're going to talk about in Chicago, or what people could expect if they were to attend the Auto Chicago conference in June? I know we've done quite a bit of talking, and we've started working on our presentation quite a bit. But I think we know enough about it to where we can give people an idea of what our presentation would be about when we're there. Yeah, definitely. I think we're gonna go into the presentation, sort of talk about what it means to be a street or urban shooter with Micro Four Thirds, what is a landscape country shooter. But we're gonna do it in our everyday lives. Like, how does this happen in our everyday lives? Because a lot of the people that come to this conference, and of course probably a lot of people watching here, is we have everyday jobs, everyday lives, and what we'll do is we'll show, hey, when I go out and I have 2 hours in a city, 2 hours in Austin, here's what I'm packing, here's what I'm bringing, here's some shots that we've done. And Jamie talks about it, and I've read some of his presentation already, and I thought that was great about how you view your ride to work. I mean,
everybody takes the same ride to work. The same, he's changing it up. He's looking at his ride to work as a photographer. I bet you the time goes by a lot quicker too.
It does. People are always saying, "I can't believe
Yeah.
you drive every day to work," and for me, I'm scouting every day.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah, and I mean, so we're going to show that, and then we're going to have some kits there, obviously, of how we do this, and we'll break those kits out, talk about those, and really so it'll be very interactive, I think, conversation, because we do want people to ask us, well, hey, I don't have a mirrorless, but I have this Nikon. What would compare to that? You know, I'm sure we'll get a lot of that questions, and I really want that kind of question because it's so easy for me to say, especially Nikon. Coming from that, I mean, it's, you know, you can say, well, I was doing this and now I'm doing that, but you know, I'm also carrying 30 less pounds of stuff to do the same thing. So yeah, I think that, and then we'll talk a little bit about our favorite things. You'll probably, if you're there, you'll hear a little about live composite. I bet you'll hear something about air filters. You know, you might even hear something about a 9mm body cap, you know, fisheye lens, but. You know, we'll go over that. Plus, you know, with Chris is going to announce it. Chris Smith, who was on our show, the last show, I believe, I don't know the exact date, but I know in January you're going to see it's going to be announced, the actual conference out on the web, the website for the conference. And like Chris said, if you haven't already, go out of Chicago now. You know, find Out of Chicago, just Google it, or we can put it in the show notes. Go out there and sign up for the email, because the people that are on his email list are going to get the announcement first. I don't know if it's going to be a week ahead or whatever, but you're going to get the announcement first. And the reason I say to do this is because we are doing photo walks, and I know Jamie and I are going to do one. We're working on one. But last year the photo walks were big. There were 20, 30 people, and it's just tough to do. People get lost, and aside as Chicago, people really get lost. I know he's keeping them very small, 8 to 10. So once those photo walks fill up, that's going to be it.
Yeah.
So if you want to, I mean, there's some of these great photographers, and Peterson and Thomas Luther. You know, I guess I'm hoping I can get on a walk with him. You know, but you know, any of them really that I listened to last year, I'd love to get out and walk with them. You know, Valerie Jardin's there. That'd be great. So get signed up. You know, go out of Chicago. It's worth it, especially if you're going to come, because it's going to be a great time. And I think you know, Olympus being the head sponsor, Olympus keeps coming up with a couple new tweaks and ideas, and that's going to be a lot of fun. The stuff they're going to have there, it's going to be. Jamie did it in Lansing with the live drive kits. And how many did you have? 6, 3, and 3?
I think I had 8 kits total.
8 kits. I'm assuming there might be more than 8.
No, I'm sure there'll be more.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure of that. So you really get a chance to, if you're out there, perfect. Now's your time. And even if you have Olympus, I think a lot of people had Olympuses in Lansing, and they're saying, Jamie, can I borrow this? You know, can I try this lens? I've always wanted to try this, and they're there. So
so if you're an Olympus user, come, because you don't necessarily have to borrow an entire camera kit. You could probably get your hands on a lens that you might not have. And I really encourage people who are interested in the Micro Four Thirds format, you know, from Olympus and you're shooting Nikon or Canon or Fuji or whatever, just come and borrow one of those kits for the day and take it out and shoot, and you can see what we're always so giddy about. You know, you'll understand it. You know, and it's not necessarily to get you to completely dump your entire system, but definitely one hell of a companion system. You know, if you're comfortable with, you know, your larger camera, the OMD line or the Pens, great companion camera. You know,
and I think that's actually, on your kits. That's actually one of our slides that I know we're talking about. Is, hey, this isn't about dropping everything and changing it. It's about adding this tool.
Right.
And this tool, you know, if this tool takes you to a spot where you want to do that, great. We probably could help you out. I know I could. If not, it's an awesome tool. I mean, you're going to love traveling with it. So I think that's the piece that'll be a lot of fun. And so yeah, our presentations are only an hour long, so it'll be a lot of information shared, I think, in a short hour. And then you've got any other presentations that you can attend to right after that. It's like changing classes in school.
Exactly. You know, and mine and Mike's presentation it's open to anybody. So I wouldn't say that if you're a very seasoned photographer that it won't apply. I think that it'll definitely apply to anybody. It's going to talk a lot about inspiration. It's going to talk about, situational awareness, how we shoot, and the gear that we use. So even if you've already got the gear, it's always kind of cool just to sit and listen to somebody else talk about their creative process. I know I'm excited about going to this so that I can sit in on some of the other presentations to hear about other people's creative processes.
Right.
So,
yeah, definitely.
we just encourage you to try to attend if you're anywhere near the Chicagoland area, or if it's something that's drivable, or if you can fly into it, it'll definitely be worth your weekend for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I know we're got our time in there for our 30 minutes, but just want to say I think before next week, and we'll probably talk about it again, but 2015, keep watching this show because we're working hard to do some really cool things. I mean, we're lining up interviews down the road. We might have 6 or 7 interviews lined up already. We're going to try to do those maybe every third show, and these people aren't even mirrorless shooters, but they're people we may work with in the photography world. And it just so happens they might have an Olympus camera in their bag, but they're not even a photographer. So
yeah,
so a lot of fun when you get out, watch it on YouTube. Follow us. Give us a thumbs up, and if you're listening to it and we get it on, as soon as Apple approves it, make sure that you're giving us reviews and that. It's going to help because I see a lot of pretty cool things happening with us in the coming year here.
Yep, definitely. So I guess we'll probably wrap up tonight's show. Thanks for tuning in. We've got live viewers. That's definitely a positive for me after last week. And like Mike said, if you're swinging over to YouTube to watch this, don't forget to give us the thumbs up and subscribe and share it with other people you think might be interested in it. And never, ever hesitate to ask questions either there. You can get a hold of Mike and I directly, via Facebook or Twitter. We're always available to answer questions. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching the show. And until the 23rd, Tuesday.
The 23rd, Tuesday.
We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Take care.
All right, take care. See ya.